How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Black Friday. This is from 2021, directed by Casey Tiebo, and stars Devon Sawa, Ivana Baquero, Ryan Lee, Michael J. White, and Bruce Campbell. Always great to see him in movies. He's actually an executive producer on this movie as well, and that's why we see the Black Friday title here in a font very reminiscent of the Evil Dead titles. You know, the diagonal lines cut off at all these cool angles. But yeah, Bruce Campbell is in this. Now, yes, his name does appear after the "and", so he's not top billed, and he's not the main character, but don't worry, he is in the movie a pretty long time. Sometimes you see it where there's a big actor, and they're just not in the movie that much because the studio couldn't afford him. Probably also because he is executive producing this. He is in the movie quite a bit. He's not the main character, but character structure in this movie is kind of weird. It's a zombie movie, and they cast a wide net for the characters. There's actually quite a few, and even though you can point and say, yeah, that's the main guy, it's not like he stands out too much from the rest, so this really is a group movie. But yeah, Bruce is in there quite a bit, and he's clearly the best character. Gotta love him. But that being said, this movie, it came out last year. It had a bit of a theatrical run. It wasn't a huge, wide release, but because it was doing theatrical, the DVD didn't come out till, I think it was something like January, and that was the first time I was able to get a hold of it. So I've been sitting on this movie for quite a bit. I've had it set aside, and I'm like, okay, come November next year, I've got to cover this. And yeah, a fun Bruce Campbell movie. This is a zombie movie, and it's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. You know, it is clearly low budget, and low budget horror nowadays isn't what low budget horror used to be, but this is much more like what it used to be. There actually is a good, strong focus on practical effects here, and even though they had a low budget, a lot of the zombies have really cool makeup, you know, kind of do that thing where sometimes their, like, nose is missing and they got that, like, chattering teeth. I don't know if that's the best way to describe them, but weird-looking zombies, and that's because they're actually alien zombies this time around. One of the first things we see is the ball of alien goo crashing towards the earth, and the zombies do things, you know, like they're building something in the center of the store. So that really makes these zombies really different, gives them an excuse to do lots of cool makeup, and yeah, that's pretty fun. And also there's a little bit more of an emphasis on character in this movie. I mean, it's not the best character-driven movie, but there is a scene, like, toward the middle where they're trapped in the back and they have all the light-up toys because they're in a toy store, and they're sitting and talking, and we get to know them pretty well. And Bruce Campbell's character actually has a pretty good journey here, where he starts off very corporate and cowardly, and then he's, you know, over the course of the movie gets closer and closer to that Ash that we know, and he actually has a pretty cool speech towards the end of it. So, interesting, unique zombies, practical effects, and pretty good characters. Yeah, this is a good movie. It's not the best thing ever. There definitely are a bit of jokes that don't land, and the pacing does get a little loose in the middle, but other than that, though, this is, for a low-budget horror movie, pretty fun, and yeah, definitely a pleasant surprise there. I guess let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing major spoilers, but I do want to analyze the movie a little bit and make sure you guys have a gist of what happens, but I'll definitely be avoiding the end. Anyway, we open up with that, you know, meteorite crashing to Earth. Some people in a store find this big goo ball and it of course attacks one of them, and it tells us right away we're dealing with space aliens, space zombies rather, kind of a rare subgenre of the zombie movie. And hey, alien zombies? Yeah, why not? Let's do something just a little bit different. But then we go, and I talk about character moments. We see all the people, the store employees, going into work. And we see like some people leaving their families, and it's really dark because they're kind of sneaking off in the middle of the night almost. And to be honest, way back in the day, I did used to work retail, and I did actually work quite a few Black Fridays. And yeah, that feeling of sneaking off while everyone else is still enjoying a quiet Thanksgiving to go to work, yeah, that really hits home. But you get the employees getting ready and hanging out before the store opens. We get Bruce Campbell's introduction, where he's on the microphone talking to the whole store, and he's, got a few funny bits. There's a toy that's being recalled, and it's like a depressed teddy bear, and he has this thing where it's like, oh, and by the way, no paid 15-minute breaks today. We need you out here all the time. So, that kind of screwing the employees over, very corporate type of guy here at the beginning. And we get to meet a few of them. There's a new guy character. There's a guy that doesn't really care too much, and he's got kind of a sad life where a lot of it kind of fell apart. And now he's dating one of the girls who's a lot younger than him, and there's a question as to how serious it is. But there's also people really big into their job. There's a lady that's been employee of the month since forever. There's been a manager that is really, really particular and wants everybody to obey him, So you get a good little cast of characters. The main guy is a kind of mild-mannered guy, and he's actually very germophobic, which will lead to a few jokes when we get gross zombies going around. Strangely, though, even though he's the main guy, he's not the deepest character. And to be honest, the older guy whose life is a little off, he seems much more well-defined. So, yeah, I don't really know. I think the main guy should have gotten a little bit more to do and a little bit more backstory, but whatever. Eventually, though, the main guy is attacked by one of the customers who's turned, and he knocks her over and like a shelf falls on her, and they don't know if she's dead, and that's going to cause a lot of the customers to leave, which, yeah, is realistic, but I kind of wish more customers stayed longer. But anyway, they tie him up, and he, of course, does the whole, no, there was something wrong with her, and eventually they do start to see this. They do start to get more hints. They try to call the other stores, and most of them aren't answering, and there's a vague, terrifying message from one of them before, that store falls as well. But we do get Bruce Campbell coming in, and like I said, beginning of the movie, he's very corporate, and he's like, it's Black Friday and customers are leaving the store. Maybe we can reopen at 2 a.m. despite the dead person. But of course, the zombies do eventually come in. They start to attack. It becomes a very good survival movie, and they are building something in the middle of the store. Zombies with a hive mind, kind of a cumulative goal. I do like that they are very, very different. And yeah, the zombies are a pretty good thing with this movie. And, it's one of those things that they're so good, I kind of wanted more of them. You see something with good makeup and good, gooey practical effects. I really wanted to see a ton more because what I got was so good, but I have to tell myself, this isn't the biggest budget thing in the world, just be glad you got what you did. But yeah, they have like these big like tongue things, this white web thing that shoots out of their mouth, and that's how they get people. And they got the grungy Evil Dead-esque faces, and a lot of them get all gooey and covered in and just like blood and stuff. And yeah, building something and changing something, and we're going to get cool reveals towards the end. There's a lot to like here with this movie, and the alien zombies are definitely one of them. And also the characters. Like I said, we get to see Bruce Campbell change and evolve as a character, start to be much more human, and we get to see bits of the backstories of others, you know, talking about people who are sacrificing their time to a corporation that doesn't really care too much about them and doesn't give them that much in return, you know, doesn't appreciate their sacrifice. And we get to see where a bunch of them came from, different walks of life, different points in time. Now, it isn't the biggest and best character thing. There are definitely some characters that it don't matter super much, and then they'll go away pretty quick. But, you know, it has a solid effort, and I do appreciate that. And, of course, humor. You know, you do get good bits of humor throughout this movie, and I really do like it. But, you know, kind of like how I said, character wasn't always character, a good effort, but wasn't always the best, and it's kind of the same here with comedy. A really solid effort. Obviously, Bruce is terrific. But there is some of the comedy that doesn't quite work. I mean, for example, the teddy bear they have to recall that's like a depressed teddy bear. I'm sure he had some good lines, but it was like his battery was running low, and they were too distorted to hear well enough, and I feel like I missed a few jokes that way. There's also a gag where the guy who is afraid of germs, obviously he gets a bunch of blood on him, but it's not near as much as you would think, and he wipes it off really quickly. I'm like, that's a joke you have to go all in on. You have to just really spray him down, and, you know, it's okay. But like I said, obviously, Bruce is the best here. You do get several lines that he just delivers great, and I just for the humor, really wish he was more of the main character, but he does get, you know, some good lines, you know, like the speech towards the end, or there's one part where a guy gets bitten. Do you think he'll turn? And he says something like, oh, well, that's what the mythos says, just kind of playing it off too casually there. And yeah, Bruce, always great. Not his most classic performance, but whenever he's on screen, it's cool. And like I said, I really wish he was the main character, just for the sake of humor there. But still, a really good movie. And I think I mentioned this earlier, the plot in the middle does come a little bit loose where the goals aren't super clear. And I do wish it was a little tighter towards that. I wish, you know, you were always sensing what they're trying to do and where the line is with the zombies. That was kind of a thing, is they can walk throughout the middle of the store because it's so big, but I really wish you had a better feeling of the danger and like what aisles, like, oh, we're getting closer to that. I wish the store was more mapped out and the zombie territory more defined in the audience's head. And yeah, I don't know, I just wish the middle was a little more tighter, maybe focus on, you know, what weapons you're gonna make out of stuff in a toy store, you know, a little more survival heavy, and that would have been perfect. But as it stands, for a lower budget film, they pulled off a whole lot, and I do like the ooey gooey alien zombies. I like the effort for the characters and for the humor, so I thought this was a pretty fun movie, and I definitely recommend it. Don't expect the best thing ever, don't expect Evil Dead 4, but it's still a really solid watch with the classic 80s B-movie feel with that practical effects there. So overall, definitely a fun watch. Definitely would recommend checking it out. I mean, zombies on Black Friday, that's just such a good idea. You know, you kind of look at the opening of Krampus and they showed that Black Friday scene. Yeah, why hasn't this been done sooner? Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This will probably be my Bruce Campbell playlist. I've covered a few other of his movies. Bubba Hotep, that was a really good one. My Name is Bruce, and I have like an Evil Dead DVD, Blu-ray collection video in there as well. So if you want to see more, Bruce Campbell playlist on the bottom. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.